Hello folks, back with the lease deals for you. This one's going to be the last one of this month. I've got a mad week next week and I'm not going to get another one out in August. But the good news is this one's absolutely packed with deals. The EV deals are unreal at the moment. There are so many of them. Also some amazing plug-in hybrids. And then at the end, we're going to have the petrol, diesel and standard hybrid stuff. So everything's timestamped, so you can go to the bit of the video you want to see. Link to Lease locos in the video description, and you will see a QR code popping up. So if you're watching on the telly, scan that with your phone, and it will take you there, and it will help to support what I do, really. Right, let's crack on. We've got the Aura 3 GT. So this is the newer version of what was the Aura Funky Cat. 248 miles of range, 171 brake horsepower, insurance group 22, 228 litres of boot space. 763 up front and 254 a month to all 10,000 mile deals in this video. As you can see, that's the lowest price it's been in the last 12 months. Highest price on it, £609. It's got bigger battery than the outgoing Aura 03 and 0-62 in 8.2 in that one. MG4 Trophy EV long range. We've seen this one enough in the past. 788 up front, 262 a month, 270 miles of range on this one. £301 a month has been the average on it, £398 at its peak. Its lowest point was £4 or £5 less than it is right now. That's a lot of car for your money. Good bang for your buck. That one's the rear wheel drive. Nice thing to drive. Next one's the Peugeot e-Rifter GT, 52 kilowatt hour. Over 1,000 litres of boot space in this one. Insurance group 22, 136 horsepower, 199 miles of range. 0-62's 11.3. 799 up front and 266 a month. 469 has been the average on this. 647 at its peak, and it just sort of fell off a cliff at the end of August. It went from 584 down to 266. Prior to that, in February, it was sort of 400 quid. October, November time, 568. The cheapest we'd seen it for any consistent amount of time was this time sort of last year. And it was still over 100 quid a month more than it is right now. 266 a month with 799 up front. Ford Puma Gen E Select, 233 miles of range, 167 horsepower, insurance group 18 and 556 litres of boot space. 808 up front and 269 a month. 359 a month's been the average, 527 at its peak. This is the lowest price we've seen it so far. Renault Scenic E-Tech Techno long range. Honestly, if I were going for one EV in this video right now, I'd choose this one because I think this deal is unbelievable at the moment. 868 up front, 289 a month, 381 miles of range on this car, 554 litres of boot space, insurance group 33 and 217 brake horsepower. 0-62 on this one is 7.9 seconds. I think this is a really uncompromising family car. Lowest price on it was last week. I think it was 286.90. It's gone up to £3, so it's not the end of the world. Highest price on it was 444, average 373. Currently, that's 289 a month with 868 up front on 10,000 miles a year and a 3-year deal. That, folks, is value. Stacks of value. The Leap Motor C10. This was still knocking around with the prices changing all the time on it still. 884 up front and 294 a month on this 3-year deal. 370 litres of boot space, 261 miles of range. Personally, I think you'd have to be out of your mind to get this over the Scenic at the moment. I haven't driven one of these yet, but I haven't heard especially good things. For me, they made a lot of sense when they were sort of 200 quid a month and less sense at £294 a month. Now, the price history shows 262, but obviously a couple of weeks ago, the deals were all 2-year deals. So 199 it got down to on 10,000 miles a year. I think most of them were advertised at 5,000. 158 it got down to at one point on Lease Loco. So there we go. For the people saying what's happened to it, well, it's gone up and they've seen it makes more sense. VW ID3 Match Pro S. So this is the one with the bigger battery, 350 miles of range, 204 brake horsepower, 385 litres of boot space, and insurance group 29. 929 up front and 309 a month. 380 a month's been the average, 486 at its peak, and this is the lowest price we've seen it in the last 12 months. The Aria Engage, Nissan Aria Engage, 63 kilowatt hour, 251 miles of range, 217 brake horsepower, insurance group 31, and 466 litres of boot space. 948 upfront and 316 a month on this one. 454 has been the average, 538 at its peak, and £300 a month was its lowest point. We're currently at 316. That £300 a month was about 3 or 4 weeks ago. I still think this is good value at 316, and it is a lovely car to drive. Still, is it better value than that Scenic? Full Capri style with the driver assist pack, this one. 1144 up front and 381 a month, 242 miles of range, 567 litres of boot space, insurance group 21. According to this, it's the lowest price we've seen at 443 at its peak, currently 381 a month with 1144 up front. Skoda Enyaq, it's the 85X Sport line, this one, 4x4, 334 miles of range, 286 brake horsepower, insurance group 38, and 585 litres of boot space. 0-62 on it is 6.7 seconds. So it's no slouch, despite being a fairly sizable beast. 748 at its peak, 483 on average. Its lowest point was 30 quid a month less than this. That was back in June, but it didn't hang around, as you can see. And then it's been sort of around the 440, 450 mark for quite a long time. Currently 399 with 1200 up front. This is a 2-year deal on this one, by the way, so keep that in mind. Ioniq 6 Ultimate with a big battery, 323 miles of range, 325 brake horsepower, 800 volt architecture, super fast rapid charging, insurance group 41. 0-62 on it is about, 5.1 seconds. 1300 up front, 433 a month. 562 on average, 748 at its peak. At its lowest point, 426. I'm sure I can remember this being under 400 quid. In fact, it's been in other videos at under 400 quid, that same spec car. So pinch of salt with this at times, I think. 433 a month at the moment with 12.99 up front. Genesis GV60 Premium Automatic with the Comfort Pack, 321 miles of range. It's on that same 800 volt architecture as the Ioniq 6. 432 litres of boot space, insurance group 40, 229 brake horsepower, 0-62 in 7.8. Beautiful car. These were loads of money. Highest point on it was 746, average of 635. And its lowest point, well, it's this, 444. With 1332 up front. There is a new one coming out at some stage, soonish, but it doesn't look massively different. They've just sort of updated some of the interior and stuff. I think this is an absolute Billy bargain, and I would not hesitate to jump on this if I were in the market for that premium, and it is a very premium electric sort of family SUV crossover-y kind of thing. VW ID7 Tourer 4Motion GTX. So this is the absolute top of the line for them. It's got the exterior pack and the panoramic roof. 1,500 quid up front and 512 a month. 359 miles of range, 340 brake horsepower, 605 litres of boot space. 840 quid a month's been the average on it. 1,683 at its peak. Obviously, no one ordered one when it was 1,683 quid, did they? At its lowest point, 512. Again, it's a 2-year deal on this one. And if you did want to go for a lower spec one, you didn't want the particularly spicy one, you're looking at sort of 483 on the Match Pro Plus versus 512 on the GTX. So the GTX does look like good value at the moment. It looks a bit of a steal, especially compared to some of the other trims. Polestar 4 long-range dual motor plus with the Pilot Pack, 367 miles of range, 544 brake horsepower, 48 is the insurance group, and 526 litres of boot space. 546 the lowest price on this one historically, 739 the average, and over £1,000 at its peak. 0-62 on this one, by the way, 3.8 seconds, 552 a month with 1657 up front. Again, it looks like real value for what is a spacious, luxurious performance electric car. Speaking of performance electric cars, we've still got the Ioniq 5N at 660 quid a month with just under 2 grand up front. This one's on a 3-year deal. Now, if you go to an 18-month deal, you can get that down to 606, but obviously you're still paying 1,800 quid up front, where you can pay 1,900 up front on a 3-year deal and get it for 660. But you can play around with these things. Obviously, play around with mileage, with term, with your upfront payment, all that kind of stuff, and find a deal that suits you. I literally show you the 3-year, 10,000 mile deals because it's one of the most popular lease profiles. 278 miles of range, insurance group 49, 650 brake horsepower, monstrous thing. 0 to 62 in 3.5 seconds. 940 quid a month at its peak, 748 on average. Lowest price got down to 644 on this profile, but we're currently at 660. Then we've got the Polestar 3 long range, the Performance Plus Pilot. 352 miles of range, 517 brake horsepower, 484 litres of boot space, insurance group 50. We are looking at a grand a month on average on this, 1431 at its peak. And on the 11th of August, it was £1,070 a month. And today, on the 22nd of August, as I record this, it's £664 a month with just under 2 grand up front. Folks, if you're considering getting yourself a new lease car, do consider getting yourself some gap insurance from ALA Insurance. Typically, pricing, you're going to be looking on a 3-year deal, around £150, £200 for 3 years of cover. And if you use the code JIM10, you'll save yourself 10% off not only the gap insurance, but any of the other products offered by ALA. So that's things like key cover, scratch and dent cover, alloy wheel and tyre cover, even car warranties, breakdown. They can help you out with all that sort of stuff. And JIM10 saves you 10% off site-wide. So go to ala.co.uk or scan the QR code that's popping up on your screen. We're on to the plug-in hybrids, and we've got the MG HS PHEV, 6.8 seconds to 62, 299 brake horsepower, insurance group 26 and 507 litres of boot space, 871 up front and 290 a month. 414's been the average, 508 at its peak, and this is the lowest price on it right now. Really nice interior on that as well. Cupra Formentor 1.5 e-hybrid 204 V2 with the automatic gearbox, 7.9 seconds to 62, 204 brake horsepower, insurance group 26 and 345 litres of boot space. I'm sure these have got around about 70 miles of all electric range as well, so fairly uncompromising in that regard. 1,100 up front, 363 a month. 637 has been the peak on this one, 464 on average, and this is the lowest price we've seen it, 363 a month with 1,091 up front. VW Passat Estate is the e-hybrid Life DSG, £369 a month with 1,100 up front, 8.1 seconds to 62, 204 brake horsepower, insurance group 36, 510 litres of boot space. Again, really big all-electric range on these. You can see a reason to actually get a plug-in hybrid other than for tax benefit at the moment. At these prices anyway. 590 at its peak, 517 on average, and 369 is the lowest price we've seen it, and that is today's price. Don't delay, folks. Use that link to Lease Loco if you're interested in this or any other deals. Audi A3 1.5 TFSI E204 Sport S-Tronic. Again, is that new VW plug-in hybrid platform. 7.4 seconds to 62, 204 horsepower, 280 litres of boot space. Average on this one has been 416, 468 at its peak, and its lowest point of £7 a month less than it is right now. It's £388 a month with 1164 up front. Cupra Terramar e-hybrid, and yes, it's that same platform again. 8.3 seconds to 62, 400 litres of boot space, insurance group 27, 204 horsepower, 1,202 up front and 400 quid a month against an average of 520 a month, a peak of 681 and a low point that was 15 pence a month less than it is right now. So this is a really good price on this car right now. I think it's a brilliant looking thing as well, the Terramar. I actually prefer the look of it to the Tiguan. Shoot me if you want, but I think that's a bit of a looker. Volvo XC60 T8 PHEV Ultra Bright all-wheel drive Geartronic, 4.9 seconds to 62, 455 brake horsepower, 468 litres of boot space, insurance group 42, but that whopping 455 brake horsepower. Wow. 921 was its peak, 856 on average, and 594 at its lowest point. So we were like £6 over its lowest point, but with 300 and something below its highest point. And that's not a bad place to be, is it? Audi A5 Avant, 2-litre TFSI 299 E-Quattro S-Line S-Tronic. They don't do my voice any favours with these long titles on here, do they? They really don't. 5.9 seconds to 62, 299 brake horsepower, insurance group 40, and 361 litres of boot space. 1,600 up front, 544 a month. Peak on that was 689 a month. Average of 618, and lowest point 530. So about £14 a month less than it is now. Still doesn't look too shabby. Jeep Grand Cherokee we've seen in the last few videos, so I'm going to skim over this one. 2,358 up front and 786 a month. Lowest point we saw on it was about 2 weeks ago, I think, when it was 778. 1,464 at its peak, 1,185 on average, currently 786. On to the petrols, diesels, and non-plug-in hybrids. Starting off with the Hyundai i20. This one's in stock. It's the GDI Premium, 11.1 seconds to 62, 52 mpg, insurance group 14, and 352 litres of boot space. 666 up front and 222 a month. 274 on average, 356 at its peak. So this is a very good value little car, and I preferred it to the last Fiesta. I just did. Jeep Avenger 1.2 Summit, 10.6 seconds to 62, 50 mpg, 100 brake horsepower, insurance group 24, and 321 litres of boot space. 818 up front and 272 a month. 343 has been the average on it. 501 at its peak, and at its lowest point it was £269. I don't think that's too bad at 272 with 818 up front. What do you think? Folks, just a very quick reminder to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. Thanks. Nissan Qashqai. This is one where it's just all the car you need for a realistic price for quite a lot of people. It's the Nissan Qashqai 1.3 Digi mild hybrid N connector with the glass roof. 10.2 seconds to 62, 44 mpg, insurance group 20, and 479 litres of boot space. 833 up front and 277 a month on this one. 311's been the average on it, 367 at its peak, and its lowest point was 12p a month, less than it is now. So this is a great time to get one. It's in stock. That link on your screen you can scan on your phone, or there's a link in the video description that you can have a click through, and it helps support what I do. The Focus 1-litre EcoBoost Hybrid ST line, 10.2 seconds to 62, 50 mpg, insurance group 15. No boot space, but I think it's 400, 410, something like that on one of these. 847 up front and 282 a month. 301's been the average, 322 at its peak, and its lowest point was a tenner less than it is now. Honda Jazz 1.5 Hybrid Advanced, 9.6 seconds to 62, 62 mpg, 122 brake horsepower, and 304 litres of boot space. Insurance group 22. Lowest point on this was £40 a month, less than it is. That was for a couple of weeks at the end of Jan. 859 at its peak and 366 on average. Currently 284 with 852 up front. We've seen the C5 Aircross diesel quite a bit lately. 720 litres of boot space. Low insurance group. Sort of does the trick for a lot of people, I'd say. 874 up front and 291 a month. Hasn't fluctuated massively in recent times. Since sort of end of March, really. But before that, 622 was its peak, and 418 has been the 12-month average on it. Next, we've got the Vauxhall Grandland. This is the 1.2 hybrid GS with the automatic gearbox, 10.2 seconds to 62, 50 mpg, 145 horsepower, insurance group 25, and 550 litres of boot space. 887 up front and 295 a month. This one's on a 2-year deal. Peak on this one was 844, 477 on average, and this is the lowest price we've seen it. Again, it's quite a lot of car for that sort of money. Still don't know. I might just go for the Qashqai over it personally. Mazda CX-5 e-Sky Active G mild hybrid centre line, 10.5 seconds to 62, 43 mpg, 165 horsepower. Insurance group's only 17, which is really low on a car of this size. 522 litres of boot space, 950 up front and 316 a month. 337's been the average, 374 at its peak, and this is the lowest price we've seen it, although pricing's relatively stable on these. Right, this is one you don't see very often. It's had a huge price drop. It's KGM Torres. KGM, if you don't know, are a Korean brand. A lot of people think they're Chinese. They're Korean. There's the K40. Insurance Group 33, 163 brake horsepower. Insurance Group 29 and 703 litres of boot space. 976 up front and 325 a month. 666 has been the average on it. 807 at its peak. It's currently less than half the average, £325 a month with 976 up front. I have reviewed one of these. I didn't love it, but at 300 quid a month, actually it offers you quite a lot. So check out the review if you want to find out more about those. Cupra Leon 1.5 TSI 150 V2, 8.9 seconds to 62, 47 mpg, 150 horsepower and Insurance Group 21 with 380 litres of boot space, a grand up front and 338 a month. 384 a month's been the average, 460 at its peak. Its lowest point, it was £1 a month less than it is now. VW T-Roc 2 litre TDI 150 Evo R line with the automatic gearbox, and it's in stock. 8.8 seconds to 62, 53 mpg, 150 horsepower, Insurance Group 26 and 445 litres of boot space. Just under 1,100 quid up front and 357 a month on this one. 460 a month's been the average, 519 at its peak. And its lowest point, it was £7 a month less than it is now. The Cupra Ateca with the 2 litre TSI engine, it's a great engine that. 190 horsepower, V2 trim. DSG, it's also got the 4-drive, so you're looking at all-wheel drive on this. 1,100 up front and 364 a month, 7.2 seconds to 62, 35.8 mpg. Insurance Group 24 and 485 litres of boot space. 417's been the average, 455 at its peak. And again, this is the lowest price we've seen it. Lots of great deals around at the moment. Cupra Terramar, we've obviously already seen in the video under the PHEVs, but this one's the petrol version. This is the V2 with the automatic gearbox. You can get this for 375 a month and 1127 up front. £6 over its lowest point, well under the average and well under the highest point on it. So again, that one looks decent value. Then we've got the Golf R. It's 333 horsepower. It's the full motion all-wheel drive DSG automatic, 4.6 seconds to 62, 341 litres of boot space. You know, get one of these while you still can, folks. The last hurrah of the spicy Golf with the internal combustion engine, quite possibly. 1,353 up front and £451 a month. 483's been the average on it, 551 at its peak. And as you can see, this is the lowest price we've seen it so far. It's a 3-year deal, 451 a month with 1,353 up front. And then if you want to go super spicy, you've got the Audi RS3 TFSI Quattro Carbon Black S-Tronic. 2,400 up front and 800 quid a month, more or less. 3.8 seconds to 62, 321 litres of boot space, Insurance Group 38 and 400 brake horsepower. Let's look at the price history on that one. 2.4 up front, 800 quid a month. Peak on it was 1122. Average has been 942. This is the lowest price we've seen it. And then we've got the big daddy. It's the BMW X7 xDrive 40. M Sport Steptronic Auto, 5.8 seconds to 62, 29 mpg, 381 horsepower, Insurance Group 50 and 300 litres of boot space, but that will of course be with all the seats up, so 7 seats available in this one. 1,500 up front, 1135 on average, 953 at its lowest point, which was sort of end of March, start of April. Currently 1,011 a month with 3,035 up front. As I said, folks, I've got next week off. Please do subscribe to the channel. Subscriptions have really slowed up. And I know that on these lease deals videos, over half the people that watch are not subscribed. About 70% of people that watch are not subscribed. It would really mean a lot if you just hit that button. It doesn't cost you anything. Also, thumbs up go a long way. Thanks ever so much for watching, folks. Catch you on the next one. Huge thanks to all my channel members for your continued support. I really do appreciate it.